Hello everyone, I'm Simon Ford of Ford's Gin. Martinis, gin and tonics, Negronis, great classic cocktails is what I'm about. But I also love to hear of great recipes from great bartenders from around the world, which is why we've partnered with Beyond the Drink for this season. Cheers.
Well, you just heard from the man himself, Simon Ford, and we are glad this season of Beyond the Drink is once again brought to you by our friends at Ford's Gin. I'm Cappy, and in this series, we're going behind the bar. It's time to explore the journeys of the world's best bartenders, uncovering their passion, the latest gin trends, and of course, the social impact they make in their community. Beyond the Drink airs every other week right here on Beyond the Plate. If you're new to the pod, welcome. If you've listened before, we're glad you're back. Let's go Beyond the Drink. Kanpai. Today's guest is one of the most respected and inspiring bartenders in the industry. He went from being a U.S. Marine to a barback to an acclaimed international bartender and bar owner on 2 continents. He had a long-time stint as principal bartender at Employees Only in New York when it earned the World's Best Cocktail Bar Award at Tales of the Cocktail. Sounds very strong, so I'm going to cut the intro right here because I want to hear more. You can find more on him in the episode notes and follow him on Instagram at Mighty Schneider. So please enjoy this episode as we go beyond the drink with Steve Schneider. Steve, excited to dig into this. We start every episode off with an audio test. So for you, can you name 3 ingredients you love to use with gin?
3 ingredients I love to use with gin: citrus, of course, and sugar. Any type of sugar works. And last but not least, herbs, basil, mint, stuff like that.
Love it. Sound great. Let's do it. Let's get going by, why don't you tell everyone what you do?
What do I do? Well, I've been a bartender for over 20 years now, 21 years. And right now I manage the bar at Sip and Guzzle. I sort of helm the Guzzle bar, which is the bar you walk in. As soon as you walk in the door, you're at the Guzzle bar. So I'm the first person you see and I'm the last person you see. And my job is to train up the staff, keep the inventory in line, just generally operate the bar at the highest level I possibly can.
Love it. Can you share a little bit about your journey, how you got there?
Wow. Well, it all began 20 plus years ago when I was serving in the U.S. Marines. And I had an accident, an injury, and that led me to have a lot of extra time when I was healing up. And one thing about Marines, we didn't get paid much. So I took a shift at a bar in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. on the weekends, make a few extra bucks and just to kind of get my mind off of what I was going through at the time. And once I got discharged, I didn't want to go back to school. I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And bartending is the only thing that really was making me happy. And from there, it just kind of took off. I ended up coming back. I'm from New Jersey originally. I went back to New Jersey, started working in Hoboken, New Jersey, this place called the Elysian Cafe. Shortly after that, I got linked up with the team from Employees Only. And that's where my career really took off. And that's where I kind of made a name for myself. After a handful of years there, I moved out to Singapore to open the Employees Only out there, which is 8 years old now. And that was my first kind of venture into bar ownership. And then from there, we opened the bar in Panama, then opened the bar in Shanghai, and went back to Hoboken and purchased the Elysian Cafe. I partnered up with Shingo Gokhan as well in a Shanghai project, and he had the idea when we were having lunch one day to open up a version of the Sip and Guzzle Club right here in New York. So that's kind of where everything sort of led me in a very short nutshell. But just for me, one step at a time, one thing after another, trying to always have a goal in mind. And now I'm either operating or investing or shareholding in 7 different ventures right now. So all doing well.
That's amazing. Good for you, man. When you started at Employees Only originally, did you start as a bartender? Like you had already been bartending at Elysian?
Yes, I was already a bartender for several years, but everyone starts as a bar back there. So you have to start from the bottom. And I really enjoyed that, just learning the system, the Employees Only system and stuff. And it was a great journey, and it was nice to be able to do any job in the house, really. I cut my teeth there. I made all my mistakes there, so you don't have to.
Do you still use parts of that playbook? Like when people come, you make them start at a certain, as barback or?
At Guzzle, I did a little bit more traditional, hired a bar back, hired the bartenders, and sort of polishing the bartenders and I hired the bartenders for them. I'm not trying to turn them into me. I'm trying to just maybe highlight and bring out the best. So obviously there is room for people to move up as we get further along in the venture. I took a lot of veteran bartenders and then I sprinkled in a couple new blood, and I'm just kind of keep tabs on the older ones and bring up the younger ones and stuff kind of at the same time.
It's pretty interesting. I'm more familiar with like the kitchen side of things, but just talking to more and more bartenders this season, especially like Ju Young Kang out in Vegas, she was talking about hiring bartenders, and she's like, I hire them similar to what you're saying. She actually said she trains them to be better people before like to be a better bartender. And it's interesting you're hiring for them to be them, not to become you.
Of course. And a lot of the bartenders, because we're only 7 months in, so a lot of the bartenders that I have on staff, they're people that I've worked with before in the past as well. And I've opened a sizable amount of places at this point, so it's nice to just know you have a nice veteran team, and experience matters in this business, and just that they're going to throw down what you're going to get out of them, and it's just one less thing you have to worry about when you have to open a place, because there's so many things to worry about. The last thing I want to do is worry about the bartenders, and I've been blessed with just the most amazing team I think I could have possibly dreamed of. And they've really delivered, and they've made my life easy, I guess.
That's great, man. What makes you happy about being behind the bar?
Well, just to piggyback off the whole team thing, but the camaraderie at this point. I'm in my 40s now. I'm not as fast as I used to be, but a bit seasoned. I got some mileage on me at this point. But that camaraderie is my favorite. I love dancing back there behind the bar and commanding the room, controlling the room, and looking to my left and the right and see the man or woman next to me, just like, we give each other little looks and stuff that we know we're working our asses off. And I love that stuff. And just the general shit talking that goes on behind the bar is that's what I live for. I realized that too, like during COVID as well. The act of making drinks for me is just not enough, because during COVID we couldn't do anything. We couldn't be high volume. I love volume bars and the bustling energy and atmosphere, and we couldn't do that during COVID. And I realized how much I missed the high volume energy. In Singapore we couldn't even play music. There was no music allowed, and 2 packs limit, and they had to be a couple meters apart. And I was like, whoa, just making drinks wasn't enough. I needed that vibe and that energy and stuff, and I live for it. It nourishes my soul.
I love it, man. There's a cool picture I saw, I think it was on your Instagram, of like the bar right when you open, like with some locals chilling there, and then the bar towards the end of the night, like the different.
When we're jam-packed.
It's so cool.
We're dancing and throwing down. Yeah. I love it.
Any cocktails you're making these days you want to share?
Well, at Guzzle, we specialize in what we call comfort drinks. So they're basically drinks with flavors you already love. And like we mash up cocktails together. We do a Miami Vice Negroni, which is one of my favorites. It's essentially a classic Negroni that we sous vide with strawberries, and then we coconut fat wash it overnight. So it's got the strawberry and the coconut, and essentially it's just a nice tropical Negroni, and it kills. It does great. Yuzu Margarita, it's actually called Yuzu Mugarita because it's made with mugi, which is a barley shochu instead of tequila. And we mix it with yuzu juice and shiso and agave nectar. We blend that together to make like a margarita mix, and then we do equal parts mugi shochu and the yuzu mix, and on a big ice cube with plum salt. It's really dope. And peach fizz, gin fizz with peaches, and then a little mascarpone and yogurt foam on top.
Dude,
so it's like a peaches and cream kind of thing. Yeah,
that looks so good.
Yeah, all the names of the drinks, they are what they are too, like a grilled cheese sandwich. At this point, for me, downstairs is a lot more prep intensive, and it's a lot more Japanese in style. And it's a small room, sit down only, very intimate service. And, all the drinks there take days to prepare. And I wanted to do something more on the comfort side, the things you drink the stuff upstairs, you stand up, very accessible, pop in, pop out, come as you are, and then grab a drink with me and grab a bite. And then downstairs you go for more food and more Japanese style drinks. And then you come up and see me on the way out for the highball. And a lot of people do that, and it's really dope. I get a chance to say hello and goodbye.
Love it. Is there food on both at Sip and
yes.
Guzzle?
So Guzzle is more like street food, while Sip is a bit more, Wagyu beef and caviar stuff, like more, again, prep intensive stuff, and more izakaya kind of a vibe we got going on. Upstairs, the fried chicken, these bikini sandwiches. It's really dope. Our chef's Mike Begal from formerly of Alinea, and him and his team been doing an amazing job getting butts in seats and getting people fed. I've never been a part of such a project with so many names and so many departments and stuff, but it's been the most fulfilling time for me as a bartender and a bar owner.
That's cool. I'm based in Chicago, so very familiar with Mike.
Oh, awesome. Great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess I would say as a New Jersey kid, do you remember your first cocktail?
Keep in mind, this was like the tail end of the disco shot era. So my first cocktails were shooters, you know? We had this thing back in the day where if you didn't know a recipe, it was like, just make it red. It didn't matter. It's just a sour mix and red, you know, and you're good. That's the beginning of my cocktail journey, was that type of stuff. Disco shots. I remember when Red Bull made an appearance for the first time, and we were charging a pint of Red Bull vodka, and they said, we're going to charge $10. And I'm like, $10? Who the fuck's going to spend $10 on a drink? If I only knew.
You have a go-to cocktail these days? Or?
I'm an equal opportunity drinker, really. I drink whatever. I like different drinks for different seasons and times of day. But I guess gun to my head, gimlets, daiquiris, margaritas, like anything with citrus, refreshing stuff, highballs, that type of stuff. I'll have a stirred drink, a martini and a Negroni, but only one. I can't hang anymore, man. The problem is I think I can, though, after a couple, you know.
What's exciting to you these days in the world of gin?
Speaking of martinis, the gin martini is back. It's totally back. It's so back, and I love it. We do the freezer door martini with Fords gin. We do 5-to-1, so 5 parts gin, 1 part Dole and dry vermouth, and then 1 part water. We keep it ice cold in the freezer, and I love taking out that bottle, and it's steamy, smoky from all the frozen stuff, and just pouring it in a chilled glass, and there you go. Side of even an olive or a lemon twist, and it's so cold and so refreshing. So I'm happy that the martini is back because it's such a classy drink and it's so simple, but you gotta use the right gin and the right vermouth and the right balance, you know. Bad martini is one thing, but a really good martini, oh yeah, that really hits the spot, right? Especially with some oysters, you know.
I haven't heard the 5-to-1 I've heard, but 5-to-1, like the water part.
Yeah, because I want to get the water colder than the ice can make it, you know. Everything is as cold as it possibly can be without, you know, freezing. And that's just how I like to serve our gin martinis, our dry martinis at Guzzle. And like smaller portion too, you know, no more than 5 ounces. When I first started, they had the 10-ounce martini glasses.
Yeah.
Now, cold, small, cold, you know, you get it. It's just because, you know, you want to drink it when it's ice cold.
Our listeners of Beyond the Plate and Beyond the Drink know the podcast celebrates social impact and giving back with all of our guests. And it's no different than the bartenders we speak to, whether it's a cause that's meaningful to them or a charitable organization the bar supported or mentorship supporting your own. Everyone kind of hits upon it in different ways. It's what keeps us really going and inspired. But I'd love to have you touch upon that or shed some light on an organization or your kind of mindset when it comes to that.
Well, I don't necessarily have any organizations, so to speak, but every time I come across something on my social media feed with a friend in need, they always know they can count on me. I'll be the first one there and I'll donate to the cause, whatever it may be. And I like to just support friends, support my fellow bartenders as well. And like just passing down the knowledge that I've been able to obtain, all the mistakes I've made and I learned from. I pass that knowledge down to the younger generation, you know, so they can grow into their own. And that's how we keep our craft alive, you know. We honor the past and we make way for the future, you know. And I like to be a part of that in any way at this point, you know, just to try to do my part to make bartending be this legitimate career path that it's become. Any impact I can help out, I will. Feel like it's an obligation, you know. People out there gave me opportunities and I'm trying to do the same.
Yeah, that's great. We've had a good amount of chefs and bartenders talk about that. And even if it goes to like mentorship, and Danielle Ballou talked a bunch about that a few episodes ago. And it's refreshing to hear how important it is for like these legends to honor those who came before them and being a legend and now kind of share, as you were saying, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, what you've learned. And they'll make mistakes, but getting to hear it from you and learn from you.
I encourage people to make their mistakes, you know, especially on someone else's dime. Like once you become the bar owner, you know, you can't make too many mistakes anymore. I empower my staff to take some risks, take some chances. It's the only way to really learn. I could give my feedback, you know, I could tell them if think it's a stupid idea, but I don't like to tell people what to do. I like to be there as a safety net. And one thing about bartending now, back in New York City full time, it's just, I love the energy that New York gives off and puts it's off, and it's nice to be back home in New York making drinks for people and meeting the newer generation of bartenders that roll through the doors. While I was gone in Asia for a number of years, the industry moves quick, and I lost touch with a lot of people, and I missed part of a generation there. And to be able to reintroduce myself to a new crop of bartenders and guests has been really fun, and again, very fulfilling. Most fulfilling time of my bartending career for sure.
That's really cool. Is there a big difference between the cocktail scene or culture where you were versus what you came home to?
I just think I'm in a different place. I'm just more mature, sort of. I just think, with the mileage on me now, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot. I've made my mistakes, and I'm in just a different place in my life. And yeah, I just think it's me. It's not, drinking trends obviously are changing too. A lot of guests are smart. They know everything. They know what they're drinking. They know what they like. And that for me also is fun. It's fun to bartend for people like that they know what they want. They know what they like. They're pretty direct with their requests. And it's easy for me to fulfill because they know what they like already. Some people like to go on the adventure. Some people like to stick with what they know. And, for me, it's just been, again, a really fulfilling time in my career to be able to meet all guests of all different drinking habits and likes and dislikes. And it's great that we have SIP as well, because that is a totally unique experience to New York between Sip and Guzzle, and you could get two things under one roof, and it's really like a one-stop shop for nightlife, really, and that's what I'm doing these days.
Love it. When it comes to etiquette, I'm sure there's more than one, but let's talk about or share one thing we should never do in a bar and one thing we should always do in a bar.
Oh, I don't know. Do people want to hear the bartender griping about? No, they don't want to hear this. I don't want to get on a high horse. It's like, do whatever you want. Have your money ready, It's like, I don't care. Come on in, enjoy yourself. I don't judge. I don't care. That's not my job. My job is to listen, not tell them what to do. As long as your card is approved, we're good.
Awesome. Steve, thank you. I appreciate your time. This was great. Sip and Guzzle's been on my New York list for next time I get back there, which will be soon, and excited to head in there.
Yeah, so Guzzle, very accessible. Pop in, pop out, come as you are. Sip takes a bit more effort because of the size of the room and the style of service. So anytime you're in New York, let me know ahead of time. I'll sort you out. Anyone out there listening is in New York, wants to roll through, please hit me up. And I'd love to have the opportunity to show you good night.
Thanks, man. Appreciate your time, and congrats on all the successes, and look forward to all that's to come.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you. And congrats on another season of your podcast.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
This episode was produced by myself, along with Ian Cohen, Joel Yetton, and Sean Petrosian. Our digital media producer is Sarah McClellan-Mead. Our music has been composed by Goldford. Find him at iGoldford. As always, special shout out to my wife, Katie. If you have not started following me yet, you should. Find me across all social media at On Cappy's Plate, or go to BeyondThePlatePodcast.com and keep up to date with Beyond the Plate. Beyond the Plate is also on social at BT Plate Podcast. If you have a moment, we'd be grateful of your support by rating, reviewing, and even hitting that subscribe button to the podcast. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Drink, a production of Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy.